Hey guys, we just got back from D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Amongst Thieves, and I'm going to come right out and say it. This movie was really, really good. It was awesome. And this, the original Dungeons and Dragons with motherfucking Marlon Wayans,
10 out of 10.
is
Irons.
fucking awful.
It's forgettable.
It is awful, forgettable, so cheesy, so bad, over the top that it must almost be watched to be believed. But this one is like the opposite. It is really, really surprisingly good, and I'm happy for it. I was taken aback by this. It's very funny. It's got great action, great characters, and a surprising amount of heart to it too. I was surprised with the amount of effects packed into it. You know, the original D&D has some effects, but they try to keep it to a minimum. It's dated. It's really bad, but all the effects are very good, and they're nonstop. It actually pays perfect homage and honors its source material. And Alex would probably be more familiar with Dungeons and Dragons source material than me.
30 years.
Every spell, every weapon, everything from the world is taken seriously and like as a matter of fact. You know, we're good. In fact, maybe too much, because you might lose some of the audience with how fast a lot of this stuff is going. But I gotta sing praises about the film. I actually felt emotion, and I recommend this to anybody that just likes good stories, fans of D&D or not. Like I said, I was entertained from start to finish, and if you're a Dungeons and Dragons fan, then it's going to be all the better for you. It's not without flaws, but I just wanted to gush about it for a second and say how it kind of caught me off guard. I love Chris Pine, and I like the characters here, so I had to look up the writers. So we got the Dungeons and Dragons writer story by Chris McKay, Michael Gillio. So for example, what did Chris McKay do? He was Lego Batman, which we loved. Renfield he's done some of the Lego movies, which have been freaking awesome and funny. The writers involved, Jonathan has done Spider-Man Homecoming, Horrible Bosses, Game Night, and Stuber. Joe, remember we actually
It's a good watch.
We
I still
thought it was
stand by
funny.
that.
I still stand by it. No, I'm proud of that. I don't give a shit. And this has that energy. It has the heart, and it provides the action. And honestly, I was surprised. I'm starting to think, and it's like, fuck. Well, the fuck am I gonna rate this if I don't even have many criticisms? You know, so I'm up here at like 8, 9, 10 territory. So that's how much I liked it. Let's hear from Alex.
Yeah, I really liked it. There was a touch of awkwardness at the very beginning, and I was worried. It was like, oh no, is this how the movie's gonna go? And then it just went away, and it was just solid the rest of the way through. There's no bag of holding hijinks. There's no immovable rod hijinks. So this movie naturally gets a 0 out of 10 because if you fucking fucked everything up by not including those
Where's
things.
Jeremy Irons?
Yeah, I needed Jeremy Irons in this.
The ear worm thingy majiggy.
No, I mean, it's just fun. The humor is on point. Some of it is kind of dumb humor that it's like, I see what you did there. But there's some like really good stuff. There's a lot of in-jokes, I guess, for people who are like familiar with pen and paper stuff. They did say Dungeons & Dragons, like Hasbro's Dungeons & Dragons, you can fuck right off because Hasbro sucks ass.
I didn't see
and so it's like, come on. But I think this movie is super, like, you don't have to be a pen and paper RPG fan to go out and see this movie. I'm going to take people, I have plans.
I want to watch it again.
I'm going to watch it again this weekend with people that I used to play pen and paper stuff with, so we're going to meet up. And so, like, I'm not disappointed that I'm seeing it again.
You're not dreading seeing it
Oh, no,
again.
and sometimes I do, but, like, this is, like, I'm excited to see what else I catch, so.
Yeah, this was very enjoyable. I recommend you guys go out and watch this.
Wow.
This had heart. It's tropey. It's like you get your quest, but they did it in their own spin and still had charm to it. I fucking love the heart that this had. The chemistry between everyone just fit. And honestly, this is the first time I don't hate Justin Smith.
Justin Smith
The
is
sorcerer,
Justice.
the wizard,
Yeah,
Justice Smith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you've seen him Pikachu, man.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park. Oh God, that was
The
awful.
Quarry.
Corey. No, this was like one of his better roles.
Well, that's big.
The
That's big from
dynamic was
Joe.
great. So this is a must-watch.
Wow, we are all in agreement, guys. You've got yourself a fantastic movie-going experience lately. John Wick 4, go out and see this one. Make sure you have time to go out and see it, too. It deserves it. I want this to be a hit. I had no fun. They take the world so seriously, and it looks lived in. It looks like I want to be in this world. Yes. Whereas the D&D from, 20 years ago with Marlon Wayans, it's like the costumes were cheap. They were stupid looking. The designs were awful. The designs were awesome. Like any element, like at the beginning, there's like a blizzard storm, and you have these like fucking burly Viking dudes with badass beards, like protecting an area. And you're like, man, I just want to see these guys fight, just something like that. That's at the beginning of the film, and it continues the only way through.
better.
Every single design, every single spell that's fired. At one point, we have a boss battle with a sorceress, and it was like I've always wanted it. It's like, when people are LARPing and they're going, magic missile, I do this now I do this.
Lightning bolt.
It was
Lightning
like
bolt.
that, but she was actually firing off the badass spells, one right after the other. And I was like, wow, they did it. So here we are, 2023, where they can kind of pull this off successfully. I want Dungeons and Dragons. This is about to be very funny and ironic. I want Dungeons and Dragons to be a successful franchise. Obviously, I mean a successful movie franchise. We've seen it work. We've seen imaginations run wild for decades on tabletop. And I think initially people would ridicule basement dwellers. You guys are weird because you're playing your games. But now it has become mainstream, and people respect it and see it's just about telling fun stories with friends and having a good time. And this film perfectly recreates that. You feel the friendship. You feel like people are having fun. It has the right amount of comedy. It's doing like, I don't even want to say this because MCU is doing it so bad now. This is doing what MCU used to be doing, right? The good comedy, the balance. It is a very fun time. And for a new fantasy world, I don't want to say new because it's Dungeons and Dragons. This shit has been around forever. But they executed it perfectly, in my opinion. And if this is successful, not only do I want to see a sequel with like these people going forward, but the potential is there. You can spin off. You could do darker stories, more serious, without a lot of the comedy. Or you can, do epics. You could do smaller tales. D&D has the fucking potential for all of that. And I just really hope that while this movie is good and we're talking about it, that it's successful at the box office. This is Paramount. So I know they're desperate for something else besides Star Trek. So they really want this to work. The budget on this is $150 million. And honestly, I feel like they got so much more power and effects and legit high quality stuff for 150 than Black Adam got for 237 million, however much that budget was. So very well done. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it didn't have the stink that the Rock's writing crew, the same people that write all of his same, like plain-ass movies did. I mean, these are writers that know what they're doing. Kurtz Pine was one of the producers for this movie, which is a good sign because if this is successful and he's producing it, that may mean that we can get the band back together. Because really, I mean, Michelle Rodriguez is a megastar too, but she can do other things too. And so it'd be nice to get everyone back together if they do want to do something.
I want the same writing team, the same directing. And the core characters. It was $260 million for Black Adam. So basically, for $100 million less, probably his appearance fee. For $100 million less, not only does it look more expensive, but they get the fucking
get your money's
spell a
worth
minute.
here, way better.
You get a CGI a minute, and it all looks good. So great characters, great story, fun. I want to go back and see this. I want to take people who aren't normally into Dungeons and Dragons and show them this and be like, see, this is why this stuff is fun. I even love that sorceress. They take there are moments where it's funny and it's cool and we're having a good time there, but there are moments where they take that magic serious and she like she gets dark and it's like gets a little scary, right? And then but then she's like firing. There are moments in this film I laughed out. I haven't laughed this long in a while. I forget which joke. We'll talk about it in spoilers. Will you tell me in spoilers? I could not stop laughing.
I saw it coming, but I was like, all right, it's funny.
I could not stop. Yes, it's one that you see. Okay, I think I know. It's in the cave.
Yes.
Yes. That you just laugh at. And then there's another one with like a bad CGI effect, but it's bad on purpose, and it made me laugh like a motherfucker as well. So you're gonna have a great time. Basically, what I'm saying is, go out and see Dungeons and Dragons. Support it; you will not regret it. And do it for me. Do it for Alex. Do it for people that enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, because I want it to be a success. And now I understand why Hasbro is like, oh fuck. We don't need all this bad press right before this film, which is going to be good and could potentially bring more people into the D&D. So I'm glad they did the right thing here and said, okay, we were just kidding about that. That, making it restrictive, and now they kept it open. And so let's go with final verdicts so you can get your ass to the theater.
I'm torn between an 8 and a 9.
Yeah.
I think that this movie is super fun. I think I'm going to round up to a 9, and it is totally.
Yes, it's on a curve. It could be on a curve.
It's personally my bias. It's just like I love D&D. I was one of those basement dwellers, and some of my friends didn't always. I was probably not always wearing deodorant, so I was one of those people. And so it's like this is my kind of thing. And so much of it is nostalgia, and they do the thing where they're
do
like,
they have the names right, Alex? Because I know they were dropping all the
too
ones
many.
Baldur's Gate, Winter.
Neverwinter. They were doing it too much at the beginning. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Is that what this movie's going to be? And then they stopped doing it, and that's the awkwardness. And so, like, the names were right. They had everything there. The spells looked as I imagined them, so I have none of the issues there. I think this is a super fun movie. There's like 3 or 4 really funny sequences in this movie I think that people are really going to enjoy, and there's some good action. It just loses some points because, like, honestly, you don't have bag of holding hijinks. You cannot play a game of D&D and not have one person go, can I do this with a bag of holding, and start an argument?
Or so you wanted to see the bag of holding.
That would have been...
They have a bag of holding. It's just different. It's the mirror of holding. It's a teleport thing.
Sort of, yeah.
I didn't play D&D for a long time, so I don't know what the bag of holding is.
I don't.
And I don't think mass audiences know what the fuck that is.
Yeah.
Quick question. What did you think about the Paladin? I know how much you love Paladins.
Oh, Paladins are the absolute worst. I mean, they represent the worst in storytelling, and not because the way
I think they ran with it.
They did. They did a really good job with it, because bad DMs for 30 fucking years have let Paladins be the blade of role playing, where they're like, I have all of the strengths and no weaknesses. And
this is
like,
the guy.
And then it's like, well, are you going to do the role-playing thing where he's not allowed to participate in this thing? And they actually did it properly, which was so crazy to see, because you go play in any random store on Friday night or Saturday night, they'll be like, you just lost your connection to your god because you killed a bunch of people or you overwatch. And so they know what they're doing here with that stuff. So I think that this doesn't feel like they're making fun of like the hobby that I like. Yeah. They are experienced with it, or they at least have people on board that really know their stuff. Yeah. And it was really nice seeing.
Yeah. I was torn between 8 and 9, but I had a great time. Runtime was perfect. I honestly did not feel like bored any part at all. The chemistry between these characters I fucking loved, even though we get like brief glimpses of like this intro, we meet them we still feel like they're part of the crew. They deserve to be there and everything, and just like that, you just love them.
Yeah. And even Hugh Grant as the villain was pretty good too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's like you can see, he's a great con man. He's like his little his sweet talker, whatever. CGI was great. The humor knocked it out of the park. Even the stupid jokes made me laugh. I was like, okay, you got me.
Yeah, it's good.
So nonstop action.
That sounds like a 9.
The only thing, just had a quick question, because I know in the trailer we saw is like, oh, we accidentally stole the red horn.
I saw,
the red horn. They
I
didn't
think
mention that
no,
at
that's
all.
I like the fact that they were just they try to throw off the audience because I remember the voiceover.
Yeah.
We did the wrong thing. We stole the wrong thing for the wrong person.
But they didn't mention that. I
Right?
was like,
No,
okay.
the story's kind of different, and I'm glad because I don't want to be spoiled on the story and all that other bullshit.
It is in the movie. They just did it in kind of a weird way.
Yeah,
Because
there's like he was trying to do this, but they were trying. Well, I kind of get it, but they didn't really emphasis like.
yeah, they
put
didn't run with it.
That
But
line wasn't in the film.
wasn't
Yeah.
in the film, but that's what the story is.
Yeah, for the most part. But
So 9.
yes, no,
Okay,
great
excellent.
time.
I'm at 9-10, and I don't really see a reason to. There are little things here and there maybe, but damn, I think I am also gonna grade on a curve, okay? Because all D&D stuff has been so bad in mainstream movie theater going experiences. Now, obviously, in animation, there's some good stuff, but a lot of it was done by fans, and that from that angle. Here, you have the big budget, the corporate. There was just so many ways to fuck this up, and this feels the opposite. It feels like they get it, they understand what works and what doesn't, and I just fucking really enjoyed it. So I'm going to go with a 10 out of 10. I really liked it that much. There are some, maybe, the D&D world is so deep and there's so much lore. And from time to time when they're talking, it can lose you if you don't know all the names of these places and all these people. So for that, I could totally see it losing some people. But it was a great story. It made me feel emotion at the end. Even though you see it coming from a mile away, it still is effective. And it's like that. And there's like these individual little fucking sections, little sequences of action and CGI and spectacle, and it goes from one of those sequences to the next, not only setting up each character's backstory, but also, little flashbacks and things, and all of them are very well done, and they actually do all come together pretty well. So, it's probably a 9, but I'm going to grade on a curve and say because you did such a good job on the first time, I'm going to go a 10 out of 10 on this, just to emphasize how much I want you guys to go out and see this film, support it. I want it to be a success. And encourage them to do more. I want to see a sequel, and I want to see if they do anything else with it. Keep this team intact, at least for one. So we'll talk about some of the rest of this in the spoiler section. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys. Hey guys, welcome to the spoiler section. So, what was this all about here? What were you talking about the paladin?
Because he hates paladins.
Yeah.
Oh,
why?
yeah.
Why do you? Well, this paladin in this, he is the best, most awesome fucking character.
Noble,
handsome, talented, can kill anybody and defeat anything, and. I kept thinking that he would do a heel turn, and I was like, that's too obvious. And luckily, they don't do a heel turn.
This is like paladins are.
He's just like a high level paladin that can do
Kicks ass.
everything.
And I liked it.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Let me ask you, Alex, is this a crutch? Are red wizards a thing in D&D? Because it's like I'm not familiar with they just turned red and now they're bad. And red wizards are a bad thing. It feels more like Gauntlet, Remember, the blue wizard needs more food, so the red wizards are the bad ones.
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Yeah, that's a thing.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, there's like super powerful sects. There's all like huge groups of like baddies that can't get used a bunch, and they're one because they're evil. They let the magic take over them, and then they get lured by the dark side. That whole cool.
So obviously, D&D is a lot about going on a quest and saving the town. What was this about?
This was about saving his daughter, and so they originally went on it. They had gone on a quest, and they broke into some place they shouldn't have, and then they stole an item that end the world pretty much, and that they allowed this evil wizard to do it. So he's trying to, he went to jail. They broke out of jail, and he wants to get his daughter back. And so it's about family, because
Redemption,
yeah.
family.
Yeah, and this red mist that comes from this horn or whatever can turn people into basically zealots and zombies for this particular faction, thus spreading their tendrils out even further. And so this group of thieves, gets together and gets caught. But one of them, Forge, Hugh Grant's character, manages to escape, and he's such a smooth talker, and he's kind of set up and supported by this sorceress who is very powerful. She's a badass in this film, and a wild card. And they don't treat her like a fucking idiot, like old D&D movie would, or something where it's like, okay, I'm spying on you, and then the sorceress never notices. No, she fucking notices, and she goes after her, and then she's constantly staying on her. She's it's done seriously. Anyways, so the character Hugh Grant plays is now in power, and he is Forge, and while our Chris Pine character has been in jail with his best friend, what's her name? Holga. They every year have a chance to appeal to the prison guards, and he tells a story. That's Chris Pine's character's
It is in
Edgin
everything.
Darvis.
That's just the way he is.
Bard. He is a smooth talker, handsome. Like, let me get my way out of this. Star Trek. Yeah. In fact, when he first started talking, I was like, this has Kirk vibes, But yeah, he smooth talks his way out, and it's funny because they want one guy to show up and I thought, because he knows him from the past and he'll vouch for him. But it turns out.
I like that. I was like, okay, he's going to appeal to his senses and stuff. You're like, oh, okay, this is funny.
It's just because the motherfucker has wings, and they grab him, and they jump out the window because they didn't think that they'd get approved. But actually, his story did work, and they were like, well, but we approved you, and now you escaped, so you're going to go
That's
back
right
to
off the
jail.
back, and it's
Right
like,
off the
all
bat.
right, and it's funny.
It's good stuff.
From there, it goes higher.
What else? So they get out, and it's his main goal. He's got to reconnect with his daughter. Now he has a backstory where he was a harper. I've never heard of that in D&D. Of course, like I haven't explored the lore, so I didn't know what the harpers were. Is that a thing? Or
Good
is that
guy,
new?
yeah, I've heard it before.
Well, anyways, so then he, is battling red wizards in the past, and when he retells this story, you see that he captures a red wizard, brings him to justice, but he looks at a pot of gold, all up in this red wizard's place, and he just moves on, right? But the motherfucker doesn't get paid. The good guys don't get respect. And,
That's how it is.
And he's struggling. He's eating fucking porridge and soup, and it sucks. Well, it turns out that later on it's revealed that as he's turning this guy in, he grabs some of the gold. And red wizards track their gold with a spell. And so that's how, since he took all that gold home, one day while he was gone, these red wizards show up. They fucking murder his wife as his wife manages to hide their kid. And it was fucking his fault. And so then his life is, kind of screwed up at that point. And he falls into a life of thievery and, drinking. And but he's got this daughter, and that's how Holga meets them in a tavern one day, and they just hit it off because they're good friends. And she acts basically as a surrogate mother for his daughter, and then then they get this job, right? And then this job is where this sorceress kind of double crosses them and then does this time spell as they're trying to exit the area with the loot, which freezes everybody. That's how he basically gets captured and goes to jail, while the bumbling wizard, Justice Smith, Simon Armor, manages to escape, and Forge also escapes, yeah. So they try to figure out, where everybody's at and how to get his daughter back. So they just go straight to his face is everywhere. He's like super popular now. it turns out that he's a bad guy. You know, he was
Shocker, the con man's a bad guy.
and Hugh Grant is so good in this role, man. I just buy him completely. And it's because he and the sorceress were basically double crossed the team, and she's just interested in him because if he leads the city, he can put everybody into one spot, bring the games back, and then she can do her stupid red mist spell and turn everybody into their zealots. So, what else? Y'all take it over.
They need a druid, and so the bumbling sorcerer. He's
Well,
like,
first he goes to let's go to. Hey, can I have my daughter back and help us out with the money and everything? Because I've been in jail for a while.
yeah, and then so he just like, no, there was never any. He contradicts him and just says, no, you're a bad father. I'm taking better care, and he's pretty much turned his daughter against him. And so there's not actually that much of a fight about it, and then. They get arrested because Hugh Grant's like, oh, by the way, I've got your wanted ad right here. You're going to fucking jail. You broke out. And then
yeah, make sure to pick up his bounty.
yeah, but then they're gonna cut their heads off.
But the Red Wizard said, just kill him.
Yeah, he told his daughter as well that he just can't. That he left. He gave him the relic of riches because there's also this relic. The reason why he wanted to help is because he learned in the same place he's supposed to break into for the sorceress is a artifact that allows him to raise somebody from the dead one time, and he plans to use it on his wife to bring her back. Basically, they have to find a way to get back, and so they get a druid, and she's got a pretty awesome introduction. She's a part of a rebel resistance group, right? Mm-hmm. What happened?
Yeah, they're wood elves. She's a tiefling druid, but she was raised by wood elves. The only people that would take her in, so she's kind of like a freedom fighter because Hugh Grant's character has been destroying the forest and stuff for the sake of industry, and so it's a common enemy. So they recruit her, and then they try to set up I tried to court her, and then she said I'm awkward and weird and bad. And
yeah,
he
tried to be as good. Like the wizard who kind of sucks at his job. They pick him up as well. He's doing petty wizard shows where he's doing stupid tricks like a fucking flame on his head. You liked it?
I liked it. It was pretty
This
funny.
is exactly
It
the kind
was
of shit,
stupid.
Magic Leroy
But
would do.
obviously, you knew what was going on. Like, while he's doing, he's like, oh, check this out. He's like, now you smell grass. And now I'm blurry. And everyone's like looking at him, and he's
grass
like,
blurry and a candle flame.
yeah, but obviously you know what he's doing. He's pickpocketing everyone in the back. He's like, oh, look at me, I'm blurry. It's stupid,
his
but
group
funny.
shows up, and he gets so distracted he drops all of the loot that he's been stealing, and then everybody comes after him, and it good fucking sequence here actually, because like the creative camera work as he changes fucking gravity, good shots, and then there's even one spell that fucking has him levitate, slam out of the building, slam back into it. I'm like, damn, man, they spared no expense, and it looks good. Anyway, so they get this gang. You got a fucking guild here, a party. The druid is the bruiser because she could turn into an owl bear, apparently. Well, anything she wants, really. She does super small with little fly, and just like creative usage of D&D powers as it should be. And the sorcerer guy has his own. Like, his magic kind of sucks. He doesn't believe in himself. But throughout the journey, they figure out, well, we need to get this helmet, and this helmet can help us. And so he's got a separate side story where he needs to attune with this helmet in order to help them get past this door that is enchanted. And you get this fascinating scene, and just the creativeness in the visuals. Not only do they go across multiple locations throughout the film, but then also when he puts this helmet on, it's like really creative. Like tentacles are like growing in. It's like I don't know what to call it. It's just a different world.
You go to
universe.
the Salvador Dali universe, everything's melting and
so it keeps you visually interested and wanting to know what's going on, and you think that this is his like ancestor who's like testing him. It turns out to be him. He's in his own way, and he overcomes his own way. He's like constantly taking shit, and he's not taking anymore. He's like, you know what? Just shut up. Just fuck you. He punches the guy, and he's like, it took you long enough. And so then he is able to use the helm. But so I love the fact that Chris Pine's character is basic. She's like, what do you bring to the team? And he's like, because
An amazing bard.
His friend is a badass. She's like doing all the fighting while he's trying to
right?
get, like a barbarian. And he's like trying to get out of his chains. By the time he gets out of his chains, everybody's already taken care of. He does help once at the end, but that's not his thing.
He did save her. He's helped twice. There was 2 times in the very first fight. She's about to get cut in half, and he hits him with the loot, the indestructible loot.
For sure, he's able to contribute. But his thing is making plans, and then when those plans, when you made the plan, then what? But she doesn't realize, the druid doesn't realize that your first plan will fail. You need a new plan while that plan is failing. And I like how that ties in there because they have plan A, they have plan B, they have plan C, and plan C is actually just plan A, but plan D is also plan B. And it's funny. And they do multiple methods to try to break into this place. It's essentially kind of a heist movie a little bit. And just creative ways. Turns out that one of the backstory characters from Holga, which I guess her love is
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
I love this
handsome little hobbit dude or something.
Did
I don't
not
know what's
expect
going
that.
on here.
That was very humorous. I liked it.
He
She
loves
likes
his big
halflings.
women, so they stop by her
Man
old
after
love's
my
house
heart.
to pick up her stuff. And she, don't put yourself through this, but he's got a new love now. And she's like, God damn it, let's go on this quest. I'm going to beat some people up. I'm going to prove, all this stuff. But he had a walking stick, and they take this walking stick on the journey. Turns out this walking stick, they really needed it for this quest because
Magic staff.
this magic staff allows him to go boop, boop, and now you got a portal between that area and that area. And they use it in creative ways. They're like, how the fuck are we going to get in there? Well, what if we don't need to get in there? We just need something in there already, then we portal it and we set up the portal ahead of time. Just creative stuff. And I like how I was like, that's genius. And it's almost too easy. It's like easy mode. So they have this heist to put something in instead of steal something out with the carriage and things going wrong and them fixing it and she turns into a fly so she can get in there. It's all creative. And then finally, where it gets to the location, the motherfucking soldiers put it down with all the rest of the treasure, and then they walk off and carelessly, it falls on the floor. So this whole thing that they set up, and then they look at it, and it's like, fuck, it's on the floor.
Didn't roll well enough. That's how it happens.
Didn't roll well enough. Rolled a 1, natural 1. And so they have to come up with a different plan. So then they, rely on the sorcerer dude to, help them out. But both plans actually work because the druid doesn't give up on it. She's got a little, knife. She's like, if I turn into a worm, maybe I can
just make a crack and just go on through.
Yeah. So everybody contributes, and that's from time to time. Holga needs to be the badass that she is, and hold off some of the enemy as they're enacting some of these other plans. But basically, it all culminates into these games. So Joe, you tell us about what happens here.
So they get captured, and he's like, you know what? I could kill you right now. It's like, no, let's just do the games for sport. So he puts them in the games. It's a big maze. There's different kinds of creatures, mimics. You got to try to survive the maze.
Oh yeah.
The maze
I didn't know what the hell that was.
changes
Is this a
up.
creature in D&D?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's
It
called.
reminded me of
Let
something from Avatar or something.
Yeah, like Avatar.
The panther that like,
Panther
kind of projects itself. That's pretty crazy. I thought they were gonna have like the ooze. What was he?
They did have the use.
The
The
gelatinous ooze.
gelatin cube.
Oh, the cube thing.
Yeah.
Gelatinous cube.
Okay, I thought it was gonna be like different because the other one was like more mobile. I
Yeah.
don't know. So yeah, they're just trying to escape there. They actually make it to the end, but he's like, no, we don't want to be with these guys. We got to find another way out because we're just going to continue this cycle. And they find a way. They jump into
Very
the cube.
creative. Instead of playing this fucking game over and over, because there's other parties.
Yeah,
So
they're
it's like,
like-
oh, cool, other D&D.
It's like, no, we don't want to be in there. They look and like, what?
Because
What
the
do you
next
mean?
time they're just going to put them through something new.
Until they die. So the druid figures out, hey, I know where to go. We jump into this cube.
But I don't know how she gets out. Like I didn't. It didn't.
She
it
turned
wasn't
into
clear.
a
She turns
snake.
into a snake.
Yeah, but how would a snake get out?
Well, so
The gelatinous cube is you're frozen.
it fits to your form, and then she immediately turns into something smaller, and then the cube takes a while to like heal back up, like
Alright,
Yeah,
T-1000, and so
slithers a
she
little bit.
I
slithers
think
out.
what I saw, if
I
I don't know if I'm
thought
wrong.
it was
She
that
jumped
hole
in.
that
She
it made.
jumped in and then poked her finger through the other side.
Yeah.
So then she turned into a snake and went through.
so
Yeah.
that she can exit
Yeah, I
through
get
that
that.
hole. Gotcha.
I think that's what
It's
she
just
did.
creative, and
And it was. I was like,
Imagine
okay,
all this
makes
CGI.
sense.
Imagine the way you have to move the camera and do all this. It is just handled perfectly, and so then she is able to pull the people out. They're like, it stings. I'm like, man. They showed this one motherfucking skeleton in there. I'm sure more than stings in there, but I guess
It's digesting you. That's what happens.
digesting you very slowly. Them very slowly.
So yeah,
Other
once they
people very
exit
fast.
out, they figure out the plan. Forge was actually just
Moving
moving
all the riches.
into the boat. So they go into the boat, and I thought they were going to be happy ever after. They get in the boat. They start riding off with all the treasures and the daughter. It's like, all right, we are rich. They look back. They see the storms brewing back, and it's the Red Horn. She's gonna turn
So they're
everyone
good. They're
into
good fucking.
salads.
They're good fucking people. He's like,
Oh, God damn it. I kept my promise to the paladin. I gotta go back.
Yeah, so he goes back, and this is when we're like, we have our badass battle with this fucking sorceress lady. And they come up with a plan. We got to get all these people out of there, or they're going to turn into fucking, thralls. So he uses the portal to dump riches out of this balloon with his face, and so all the audience, ooh, free money, and they get out. And the sorceress is about to complete it, and she looks, and there's no
Just no
people
one
in the
there.
stadium. She's like, fuck! She didn't say fuck, but she's just really fucking pissed off.
No.
So in a fit of outrage, she attacks the group, and the motherfuckers, she is powerful. And thankfully, Simon is finally able to somewhat master his magic, because it said, like, he sucks unless his life is in danger, or like he really cares about something. So obviously he really cares about the druid, who's the first one to try to go beast mode on the sorceress, but her raw strength is not able to counter the sorceress. So he stands up to help, and we get this fucking arm wrestle thing with the fucking bloody hand and rock hand and stuff. Really good individual battles. And before this, he was like, hey, the father said, stay behind, you may use your pendant to, stay out of sight and stuff, turn invisible. I knew what this was going to result in. Obviously, she was going to come and
Yeah,
help.
she's gonna do something.
Anyways, so as it seems like they're starting to get the upper hand, they attack her at the same time. And that's when I was like, wow, this is a really cool, impressive scene where she's firing off all of her spells simultaneously and handling boom, boom, boom. So it's like an MCU fight scene where Captain America's doing all of his brawling while everybody's doing their own individual things, and everything is firing off perfectly, and you buy it, and it doesn't look ridiculous. It's magic missile, magic missile, magic missile. It's not like that. It's done very well. But it seems as if she gets the upper hand because she uses the spell that she used at the beginning of the movie, which fucked everybody up. She used the time spell. And when you get stuck in it, you freeze. And then she goes on her speech like, I gotta fucking deal with this Forge guy. He's annoying the fuck out of me. You're just a pain in my side. I'm gonna kill you. And then he's like, oh, God, your breath stinks. And she's like, what the fuck? How's he moving? How's he talking? And it turns out everybody was just faking it. They went, like that, because Simon was able to counter her spell. Or no, I think it was his daughter managed to stick the...
He used counterspell.
He counterspelled,
He did counterspell,
and she did
and
it too.
she did it so that she couldn't continue attacking after she realized her time spell didn't work. So, through the power of teamwork, they are able to take on this motherfucking sorceress. And then the owlbear goes fucking Incredible Hulk mode on there and beats her up. And then he's like, are you sure? I think she's dead. But then she moves a little, and then
Again.
Smashes her.
I'm
And
like, yes!
crushes her with rocks.
Yes, this is what you do. It's a double tap. You got to
Yes.
do the double
Gotta make
tap.
sure.
And these characters did the double tap. Yes, there are heroes, but I don't care. We have to, that lady was gonna kill a lot of people. So, anyways, So they kind of skip through this because I didn't even know the Lord of Neverwinter is going to come back. I didn't even catch the first time when they said, "Oh, he fell asleep" or something. It was like some kind of bad spell.
Yeah, the evil wizard, the red wizard, had poisoned him and put him in a coma.
Yeah, but they're able to reverse that spell. So he declares our team, the Heroes of the Realm. Forge is sent to prison. Yeah.
Olga is stabbed by the red.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
Yes, she's stabbed by the red wizard.
This the big emotional moment.
Yeah. So she gets stabbed and it's incurable. Can't do anything about it.
Resurrect does not work. This is super magic. You can't triple stamp and double stamp. So.
And
he remembers, and so he has the one key to resurrect. Now, obviously, he wants to resurrect his wife, and he even admitted to his daughter. He's basically in a moment where he goes to rescue his daughter. He finally tells her the truth. It's like, I'm not rescuing her for your mom. I'm rescuing her for me, And then he's very honest with her, and she smiles, and you think, okay, she likes him because he's being honest. But then she starts giggling and laughing and turns into the sorceress. I thought that was a really cool effect too. But it was a fake out. And later on, he does the same apology. He's like, I wasted my good apology on the sorceress. But he, talks to his daughter here. But as she's dying, he remembers that it's like this girl here, Holga, has been more of a mother to the kid than her actual mother. I mean, it still sucks, because it is a real mother, but this, I felt it too. Yeah. And he's like, all right. He looks to his daughter to see if she's cool with it. She is, and because she's like, I need you. And he realizes at that moment that that's basically who she connects with the most in this.
Yeah,
life. She
and
never
also
really
what
got
the
to grow up
paladin
with
said, and the paladin's like, well, she has a new life now. You can't just take her from the life she's leading.
Yeah,
now.
they imply like when you die, you go into an afterlife. I don't know how it is in D&D, but there's another thing, and then if you bring her back, you're bringing her back from something.
Yeah, typically when you die, a version like your long lost cousin it's pretty much your character, but with a mustache shows up, and then they've got to.
This is my brother.
Mustache.
Yeah,
sweet.
Yeah.
So he resurrects Olga, and she's like, "Oh, you wasted this spell on me." And they have a thing, where it's like, oh, do they like each other or not? But no, you can tell that they are just really good friends.
Yeah, they're like brothers and sisters.
In fact, towards the end, as they're being crowned heroes, there's another little hobbit dude that
she's biting a lip.
She's biting her lip, and she liked that little hobbit guy. That's her thing, I guess. But yeah, so then you got Forge, who is trying to escape, but he is imprisoned, and he's in the same prison that our healers were in at the beginning, and he's giving an impassioned speech on why he should be left out. And then as soon as he gets an opportunity, he grabs the
Jonathan. No, they already know.
He grabs the Jonathan guy. His name is Jonathan. He's just a crow with wings. He's like, God damn it. And then he throws him out the window, but they stoned it up so that can't happen anymore. Just great, just fucking awesome. And this film goes a mile a minute. There are so many locations. Look, we even forgot the thing where they go to the graveyard. They're like, all right, we need to figure out.
You missed the three best parts.
There's so many fucking parts of this film. I have to do a breakdown 5 minutes after I see the goddamn film, and I have the worst memory of us all. So I'm just trying to push it on y'all. So go ahead. Tell me what made me laugh so goddamn much.
The three best parts for me was like when they go to retrieve the helmet. It's like, oh, we got to go underneath. I kept it safe. So as soon as we go down this cave, they're like, there's some creatures coming up. They're like, careful. They attack high IQ or whatever.
Intelligence. The little brain creatures.
So they're all standing by the wall. These creatures just walk on by.
You think it's going to be another action scene because they've had nonstop creature fights, but it was literally used to perfect effect.
It was. I knew it was coming. Yeah. And Chris Pine's like, well, that's kind of insulting. Yeah.
They didn't even notice it because they're all idiots. That's so funny, man.
That was funny. That worked. And then the other one is...
Wait, let's not jump. God damn, this movie is packed.
It is.
Then they're doing with the fucking paladin inserts his gem and does the thing, and they get the fucking helmet, but then the bad guys show up. We forgot to talk about all these bad guy lieutenants and their assassins, and they start to fight.
Watch it.
Paladins like, I'll fight them all. Then they fight them all, and then when they fight them all, then the motherfucking dragon comes out. But it's not just any dragon; it's a fat dragon. It is a chubby ass dragon, which I thought was cool.
I'd never
but
seen it.
everybody else in the theater, did you hear them laughing like their head was about to fall off just because it was like a big fat dragon? I'm like,
That's
all
what they
right,
were going for. It's like, oh, they found a new den. It's like, oh, did he eat his old
Did
den?
he eat his old? And I heard the audience would not. That was their biggest joke.
There was a
but
dude
for me, I was like,
laughing at the commercials
Yes.
before the movie,
I was
and he was
looking-
losing his shit
Yeah.
I was
at the
looking
commercials.
over.
It's like, oh my god.
We have one of those guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I'm glad you're having a good time, Mr. Guy who smoked way too much weed before this movie.
To
but
be fair, I lost my shit at
Not
the
at the commercials, though,
intelligence.
yeah.
But at the one, I was like, that was so good. Anyways, so Fat Dragon chases them. More CGI, but it's all well done. And then what else?
The other one, my
we
second one that I
missed.
fucking laughed my ass off was pretty fucking good, is the wizard. He's not a necromancer. He could resurrect the dead, but only to ask him 5 questions.
Yes.
So they
What
go to the
is your favorite
graveyard
color?
to find out where the helmet is and who had it last. So we get a story. We dig up the first guy. He's like, oh, I saw this person have it.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously the first one is like, all right, they ask him questions like, all right, so is it this guy? He's like, yes. No, that wasn't a question for you.
Right,
Like miscommunication.
Yes.
It's like,
Next.
no, it
They
wasn't
keep
asking you.
keep
It's like,
fucking
okay,
up.
bye.
God, he
It's like,
fucking dies
God
again.
damn it, next one.
Fuck.
He's like, oh
They
yeah,
have
I
to
slipped
dig up
in the,
this whole
he's like,
graveyard.
Well, I never saw it. I slipped in the shower and I died. And it's like, well, where did you see the helmet? It's like, isn't your name this? He's like, no, that's my brother. So
Yeah, you keep
they go
going.
again and again and again. So that was a pretty good scene. I
Yeah,
loved it.
and that's actually the post-credit scene. They forget to ask one guy all 5 questions. They, excuse me, can somebody
Just
ask
said
my
that for him,
last
please.
question?
It's like, oh man.
So yeah, that was a really good scene too.
And
I think we covered everything now.
nope.
No.
The third one was the one that made me laugh the most.
the hologram.
The hologram.
Yeah,
That was pretty good. You see it in the trailer. He's playing the guitar, so he's
Does his
trying to.
little
He's trying to.
kick.
Yes, he's trying to do a distraction so they could sneak up around the back.
To
Then
get
he's
into
playing
the games or to get into
to get into the
heist.
The heist. So he's playing the guitar and he's like singing to him. All the guards come closer.
And they like it.
They like
the
it. It's like,
song.
all right, this is pretty cool. But the wizard gets his foot stuck, so he's concentrating on his foot. So he's like repeating the same thing over and over, and then he starts
and
glitching
his
out.
eyes
His
start
eyes start
ballooning
going
up and
crazy,
his head starts sinking into
in.
his.
yeah, one of the guards like, oh, what the
It's
fuck?
like, what kind of black magic is
And
this?
it is horrifying
is.
looking, but it's
Well,
played
isn't
for
it?
a
He's
joke.
like, just like, what kind of black magic is this?
It is magic.
That one made me laugh a
Oh,
lot.
yeah,
That
it
was a
was
good scene. That
really
one was worth it.
Yeah, worth the price of admission.
Those are my top 3. I think those are the.
That's all the good
it.
ones.
Yeah.
They have flashbacks to the original Red Wizards. There's one guy that makes a power play, and he starts this whole shit. This lady that we're fighting is not the main guy. I don't know if they plan to bring the main guy in the future. They could, if they wanted to do that guy. They could also bring back Hugh Grant. They can bring back this handsome, perfect paladin. A lot of different
They have
ways
a lot of potential here.
to go different ones. Yeah,
I'm down
and
for
I
watching.
just really funny jokes. So this paladin is awesome, and then he's like, "Well, I got to part ways. This is your quest, you know." And he's like, "All right," and he's like, "God damn it!" He hates that he likes it. He hates this guy because he's of a certain
'Cause he's
race,
better
the
than
Fays
everyone.
or something like that. And
like,
he's
"We
like, "They're
need
all
you."
treacherous," but no, this guy's actually a good guy. And she's like, "Yeah, everybody agrees." He's like, "Fuck." He's like, fine. Finally, when he saves his life with the dragon, he's like, all right, fine. Anyway, when they part ways, he's like, God, he's just so stoic and strong. He's just walking in one direction with such force.
straight line.
It's
It's just a straight line. Is he? And then you notice there's a rock in the way. He's like, is he going to, and he's narrating the guy walking. Is he going to move with the rock? Nope. He just steps up over the rock and hops on, and he's still walking a straight line. And I can still see him in the distance as they continue the scene. And I was like, good little shit like that. You can tell these writers are at the top of their game. Lego Batman was funny. All these other things were funny, and that comes across well here. Anyways, I don't know if I'll put this up as an hour review or split it into two. I don't think in Dungeons and Dragons I'll be able to split into two. But, you know, I just don't want people to think we're spoiled the whole film. We have a non-spoilers and the spoilers.
Well, we said it.
Don't get intimidated by the hour long. That's why people get so mad at me. It's like, stop cutting it off. It's like, I have to make these videos to where you would even click on them first. You know? Because I don't watch 2.5 hour reviews. Anyways, I did a good job of letting you talk this time. Anyways, so is there anything else that you guys want to talk about or can remember?
Nah, Hasbro's going to fuck it up. As much as I want a sequel, Hasbro's going to get their hands on
They
it.
didn't fuck this up, Alex. They did not fuck this one up. So
you know how it goes, though.
if they didn't fuck it up once, they have the potential to not fuck it up.
I'm just telling you that I've got
potential
infinitely more experience with Hasbro, and the second they start making money in something, they don't want to make that much money. They want all of the money. So you can't bring back Chris Pine.
Give us one example of how they could fuck it
They
up.
fuck up the
They
team.
say Chris Pine costs too much money, so they can't bring him back. They can't bring back Hugh Grant because he costs too much money. The young actors and actresses want too much money because it's the second movie now. So what we do is we can't give these writers.
Let's cheap it out.
Anyone who is an actor now becomes a producer. If you are a producer or a writer, now you become a producer that doesn't do something, and we'll bring in the B team to write it on the cheap. We're going to bring in a bunch of young people that they're going to work for, you know, whatever scale is in acting. They're going to cheap out on the CG, and then we're going to get something closer to Jeremy Irons and Marlon Wayans than this one. That's what I'm worried about because that's what Hasbro does. Everything they touch turns to shit, whether it be D&D or Magic the Gathering, Transformers. I don't care about My Little Pony, but that too. And
in December 2017, after various degrees of progression, the film was moved by Hasbro to Paramount Pictures and was scheduled for. I think at some point Hasbro realized, fuck, we're not making this happen because this goes back as far as 2016. So they brought on Paramount to help them. That was the right decision. Yeah. So they need to continue doing that. And honestly, bringing back the actors is great, and I would consider that as B. A, you have to bring back the same writers and directors because that's where all the funniness comes from. You can find charming people just like these people to redo it, even though I want these guys back. It's like you need to have the same team back, 9.5, the same actors, 9, right? In order to get that going. Yeah. So, let's see. The future. Is there anything on this? February 2022, a spin-off television series was announced to be in development. The show is described as a flagship cornerstone live-action series. Well, the series will complement the film side of the franchise. Rawson Marshall Thurber is set to serve as creator, writer, executive producer, and showrunner for the series. Jesus Christ. In addition to directing the pilot episode. Various networks and streaming companies bid on distribution rights. In January 2023, it was announced Paramount Plus gave the show a straight-to-series order. It will consist of 8 episodes with Entertainment One and Paramount Pictures serving as the production companies, where it was the same people that did the film. So this guy, just so that we know what he does, because he's in charge of the television side of everything, notable work. Dodgeball, A True Underdog Story, We're the Millers, Central Intelligence, Skyscraper, and Red Notice.
No.
Oh, so he's part of The Rock? So he's part of the Rock's group.
Apparently.
It seems like, Is
no.
Central Intelligence,
Central
The Rock,
and
Skyscraper, and Red Notice?
And Red Notice. So he's part of the Rock's crew.
He started good with Dodgeball. Then
hey, man, he's getting paid, so, can't fault the man.
We'll see. So that's probably what's next, but we hope that they greenlight a sequel to this and keep the films going, whether the Paramount Plus series is going to be good or not. But all right, guys. So that's about all I can think of. Are y'all good?
Yeah, I got my 3 parts out.
All right. No, those were the most essential parts, Joe.
I
have to focus on trying to remember everything.
Those are funny.
Thank you for not. Yeah, those were the biggest jokes in there. Tell us what your favorite parts were in the comments down below. I'll definitely be reading these because I like this one. I hope it turns into a franchise.
Me too.
Go out and see it. Tell other people to go out and see it. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next Angry Joe Show.
Bye, guys.